Hello children and welcome back. Today we will begin with the second chapter in geography, that is endogenetic movements. Let's understand first what are endogenetic movements. So endogenetic movements are the horizontal and vertical movements caused by the forces coming from the earth is known as the endogenetic movement. So children, before getting into the detail of the chapter, let us understand the interior of the earth. So children, you have learnt this in your 8th standard. So as you look at the diagram, you can see that the upper layer of the earth is the crust. As you go towards the interior, we have the mantle. Now, mantle is divided into two layers, the upper and the lower mantle. So, the upper layer is more in the liquid state. As we move, we have the core. So children, in this chapter, we will learn about the different movements that occur in the interior of the earth. And because of these movements, there are different effects on the surface of the earth. So children, in your textbook, there is an activity in which you need to arrange your notebooks on each other and place 3 to 4 objects like eraser, sharpener, etc. on top of the books. After that, you need to quickly take out a notebook carefully without affecting other books and objects. So, after conducting this activity, you will observe that the objects that were kept on the surface like eraser, sharpener, etc. moved from their places, and even some of the books also moved from their place. So children, the same movements occur on our earth and we experience earthquakes. With the same objects, again, arrange the books and objects like the previous activity. But now, first you need to give a slight push to the books and observe what happens. And then give a hard push and observe what happens. So children, after you have done the second activity, you will observe that when you gave a slight push, there was not much damage. But when you gave a hard push, there was a lot of damage. Children, like the two activities that we saw, similarly, earthquakes and volcanoes occur because of instability of the interior of the earth. Mostly, the movements occur in the upper layer of the mantle. There is a lot of energy released by radioactive materials like potassium, uranium, and thorium. These energies move from one place to another, and due to such flow, there is instability in the mantle. These movements are classified on the basis of their velocity, that is their speed, direction, and the landforms. So children, if you are looking onto this table, you will see that there is a classification and movements. So first we have the velocity. So what is the velocity? Here you can see the velocity. So according to the velocity, we'll see that we are having slow movements and sudden movements. So this whole chapter is divided into two main points, that is slow movement and sudden movements. So what are slow movements? Slow movements occur continuously and they form landforms like mountains and continents. Sudden movements are events, okay, where earthquakes and volcanoes take place. Second is the direction. So in direction, so what direction does these forces move? So first we have the horizontal movements and the second is upward and downward movements. Next we have is the landforms. So in landforms, what are the different things that occur? So first is continent building that creates continents, plateaus and highlands. Next we have is the mountain building. So in mountain building, there are two mountains. The first one is the folding, that is a fold mountains, and second is the faulting. Faulting means fractures. Okay children, in this lesson, there are two main points, that is slow movements and sudden movements. So in slow movements, we have mountain building movement, that is also called as orogenic movement, and continent building movement. It is also called as epiorogenic movement. So under sudden movements, we have two types, that is earthquakes and volcanoes. Children, slow movements are a result of formation of mountains and continents on the earth's crust. Slow movements are movements that occur slowly over a long period of time. Such movements are continuous in nature. So children, here is a table where the effects, pressure and tension is shown. So we will go vertically. So under pressure, what is the direction of wave movement? So under pressure, the waves are moving towards each other. Okay, you all can see here, the waves are moving towards each other. Now, let us see what are the effects of it on the hard rock. The effects of it on the hard rock is a fault. So what is a fault? Fault means when the waves are very tensed or there is a lot of pressure on it. So the landforms are on top of each other. That is called as fault when the waves are moving towards each other. Now let us see what effects are formed on the soft rocks. On the soft rocks, you all can see here folding. When the waves are moving towards each other, there is folding that takes place. You all can see the wave thing. Now let us see what happens when tension is there. When tension is there, we can see that the arrows are moving against each other. That is moving away from each other. That is a direction of the wave. Now what happens with the hard rocks? With the hard rocks, when tension takes place, again the faults are there. But here the direction is away from each other. So you can see here, that is a little space is formed. So there is a gap that is there on the landform. Now when we come down to the soft rocks, you all can see a fault plane. So what is a fault plane? So when the waves are moving away from each other, that time you can see that there is a crack that is taken place and there is a gap which is formed on the landform. which is called as a fault plane. So children, first let us understand mountain building. In your textbook, there is another activity where you need to take a 30 centimeter long paper strip and place both your hands on both ends of the strip. So you can see this with the picture that is representing. Now you need to move both the hands towards each other, giving pressure to the strip. Children, try this activity at home and see what you can experience. So after you have done with this activity, you will notice that the middle part of the strip moves upwards as you had given pressure from both the sides. So in the same way, due to pressure on the earth's surface, folds are formed on the soft rocks. Okay, on the soft rocks. So children, as you saw in the previous activity, how folds are formed, in the same way, mountains are formed as fold mountains. So you can see this video that is there, how folds are formed and a mountain is being formed there. Energy is transformed from the interior of the earth. And as the energy waves and pressure move towards each other in horizontal direction, the layers of soft rock forms fold. So this mountain is formed due to compression. The Himalayas, the Aravallis, the Rockies, the Andes, the Alps are the major examples of fold mountains. So children, with this we will stop today. The next part of the chapter will be explained to you in the next video. I'll see you again in the next video.